We've all tried to predict the future at one point or another. Whether it's trying to determine how long your commute to work will be today or determining when an asteroid may clip the planet, predictions are made on a daily basis. Some of them are correct while some aren't. Well, video games are no different. These game developers harnessed their inner Nostradamus and made some crazy accurate predictions. Stick around because our final entry is so spot on, it's shocking. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our content and ring that bell to become part of our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here are 10 games that predicted the future and got it right. Deus Ex, declining economic worth of humans. Deus Ex's world is one where humanity is on the decline. You also see the rise of the automaton, which is deemed the apocalyptic change in the game world, and rightfully so. We are slowly but surely seeing the same change in real life. According to lead writer Sheldon Picotti, he believes one of the main issues which occupies his attention is the falling economic worth of human beings. More and more robots are doing the same jobs human can do, but better. Picotti believes as automation in major industries increases, the middle class slowly disappears because human intelligence, work, and effort simply does not suffice anymore. It makes sense from a business point of view. You don't have to deal with any annoying employees or even pay them $1 for that matter. With no one complaining about work, bosses can sit back and relax while everyone complains there's no more jobs in this economy. Humans just simply don't add value where they used to. We're just a big old bag of bones. A prime example of this is Watson, IBM's artificial intelligence who helps to build and strategize with businesses on how to best reach their audiences. Oh, and Watson's also won Jeopardy against human contestants. Creepy. So not only are they taking our jobs, they're taking our spots in game shows. I'll take robots taking over the world for 1,000, Alex. Madden, Super Bowl 49 score. The Madden franchise is the only American football game on the market and is one of EA's best-selling sports titles. The ultimate goal in the NFL is the Super Bowl, where the AFC champion and the NFC champion collide. Each year, Madden provides a simulation of the big game to predict who will come out victorious. The game has a super impressive track record and has successfully predicted the winner of the Super Bowl 9 out of the last 13 times. This is not a perfect prediction record, of course, but they did get fairly close to the actual scores for some of the Super Bowls. In fact, Madden predicted the exact score for Super Bowl 49. The game predicted the Patriots to beat the Seahawks 28-24, and that's exactly what happened. They weren't able to predict Malcolm Butler's interception at the goal line to seal the win, but that would have been a little too perfect if they did, and eerie. The simulations themselves are pretty simple. They run one game, extensively recording the results and tracking all the statistics, which they then publish online alongside footage of the big moments of the game. Their most recent simulation of Super Bowl 51 predicted a Patriots victory over the Falcons, but what they didn't predict was one of the most entertaining games in Super Bowl history. A lot of us would have liked that prediction to be wrong, but hey, Tom Brady is the GOAT after all. We're not worthy, Tom. We're not worthy. HOMEFRONT, the ascension of Kim Jong-Un. HOMEFRONT is a modern first-person shooter released in 2011. It's more known for getting backlash from environmentalists due to releasing a ton of balloons into the sky to promote the game, but it's actually pretty good if you give it a shot. You could shoot down those balloons for starters. The plot revolves around a unified Korea as a dangerous superpower filled with tension. The game predicted Kim Jong-il, the former leader's death, and Kim Jong-un, his son, rising to power and succeeding his father, and in turn uniting North and South Korea into the Greater Korean Republic. With North Korea recently announcing it would like to unite with South Korea again, the game got several key historical plot points correct, despite being set in an alternate reality. Or is it? What's really creepy is that a quick look into the game's backstory also reveals it was eerily only a couple weeks off from the date Kim Jong-il actually died, and also predicted the country would start nuclear tests in 2013, just a few short years after the game was released. The game is set in 2027, so hopefully it isn't right about anything else. HOMEFRONT's plot also predicted the collapse of the United States financial system in 2022, along with an Asian bird flu epidemic in the same year. Yeah, let's hope those two don't happen. That wouldn't be fun for anyone. Alpha Centauri, mapping the human genome. Sid Meier is one of the greatest video game developers when it comes to strategy games. The Civilization franchise is one both gamers and non-gamers have heard of, but he's also made many other games. One of those games is Alpha Centauri, released in 1999 and still revered to this day by fans and developers alike of 4X games. This PC game set in the 22nd century allows players to do something scientists at the time could only dream of, which was to map the human genome. Of course, the human genome has been mapped, but in 1999, we were a few years away from seeing it ourselves. It's pretty exciting when humanity is actually able to catch up with this fairly futuristic science in a video game. The task was filed under a special project in the game, which, once players achieved a knowledge of biogenetics, they were able to map the human genome. In the game, it was a great thing to do because it gave you a talent stat boost in every one of your bases and protected your population from viral outbreaks like that Asian bird flu we hope we don't get in 2012. Did I get my flu shot? The actual Human Genome Project did not reach completion until 4 years after the release of Alpha Centauri in 2003. Sid Meier and his fellow developers were definitely ahead of their time with this forward-thinking prediction. Dos Ex, Justin Trudeau as Canadian Prime Minister. Oh hey, Dos Ex makes another appearance on this list. What a surprise! Well, in Dos Ex Human Revolution, Canada's Prime Minister is a Mr. Trudeau, but the game was released in 2011 and set in the future. So, how could Pierre Elliott Trudeau possibly be in the game if he passed away in 2000? Well, it's most likely referring to his son, Justin Trudeau, who had been a member of the Canadian Parliament for Papineau since 2008, and also leader of the Liberal Party in Canada since 2013. Justin Trudeau was later elected the Prime Minister Designate of Canada in 2015, 4 years after Human Revolution was released. That's one heck of a prediction, considering he wasn't even the leader of a federal political party until 2013. In addition, the in-game text mentions Chateau Laurier as the Prime Minister's residence after the real-world address, which is 24 Sussex Drive. That being said, the Prime Minister's family is allowed to not move into 24 Sussex Drive if the residence requires a significant number of repairs. So we guess the house is going to undergo a lot of repairs in the not-too-distant future. The game also cites Trudeau as Prime Minister until 2027, meaning he would win the next 2 terms. Well, we all know the ladies are gonna vote for him, so who knows? That's one handsome Canadian right there. Ghost Recon, the Russia-Georgia conflict. The Tom Clancy franchise includes plenty of games that don't get the same recognition of Call of Duty or Battlefield despite being solid, well-constructed games. Of course, the Tom Clancy games are third-person shooters, while those are first-person shooters, but they're easily some of the best third-person shooters on the market. The first installment of the Ghost Recon series was released back in 2001. This game just so happened to focus on a conflict between Russia, Georgia, and other Baltic states, with Russia trying to bring the former Soviet countries back under its control. Sounds similar to what's going on in Eastern Europe right now. This all occurs when a Russian nationalist desires to rebuild the Soviet Union. What's stranger still is the game is set in 2008, which was the very same year an actual conflict between Russia and Georgia broke out. Talk about pinpoint accuracy. Clancy's work is chock full of politics and military strategy, so it isn't too surprising one of the plots in this franchise would match up with a real-life event sooner or later. It's just crazy how accurate the prediction is. Pretty much every country that used to be part of the USSR has beef with Russia now, but to nail the exact year a conflict will break out is some true Tom Clancy wizardry. Smash TV, the rise of reality TV. Smash TV predicted the rise of reality TV, an astounding 10 years before any shows of that nature made their debut. A whole decade before we saw the cringiest TV genre in existence. Remember that? The game was released in 1990 and was set in 1999, with a futuristic theme revolving around televised gladiator matches. It's nothing like American Ninja Warrior though, because people's lives were on the line. Players had to enter life or death fights in an arena, which was broadcast as a reality TV show. Millions tuned in to watch these battles result in a bloody fight to the finish. Smash would probably get a lot of views in real life as well if it were an actual reality show. You know, besides all the blood and gore. Well, maybe a little bit. The premise absolutely predicts reality TV's popularity, which began to rise at the turn of the millennium, with millions tuning in each week to watch their favorite reality television shows, no matter how awful they were. It was also fairly specific, showing that contest-based reality shows where contestants were tried away outside of their comfort zone were highly popular. This mirrors shows like Survivor, The Amazing Race, Big Brother, and The Bachelor. Thankfully, none of these shows are as violent as Smash TV, or else you'd only be able to see them through streams on the dark web. Metal Gear Solid 2, Solid Snake, ALGAE as fuel. We assure you, this is not the only time you'll see a Metal Gear game on this list, because creator Hideo Kojima seemed to have some highly progressive ideas for his game series. Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, is set in a world where there's a severe oil crisis and gasoline is scarce. Entire nations are waging war with one another to fight over the remaining fuel. It's actually quite interesting. With the world projected to run out of oil around the year 2070, it could happen in real life as well, but that's not the prediction we're focusing on. The game's solution to this fuel issue is to use algae to produce produce fuel as a byproduct. The algae, named Botryococcus braunii, created XLIX, a high-quality petroleum product which can be photosynthesized. Yeah, that's just a fancy way of saying they can make an infinite amount of algae fuel. In Metal Gear 2, XLIX was discovered in 1999 by Dr. Marv. It wasn't until 2012 that the real world got algae fuel when it came to 4 Bay Area gas stations in San Francisco. South San Francisco company Solezyme created this fuel, creating biodiesel B20, and sold it for less than $4.25 a gallon. This fuel is comprised of 20% algae and 80% petroleum, and emits less toxic greenhouse gases and smog than regular diesel fuel. Algae biofuel is the way of the future. Final Fantasy VIII, The Death of SDTV. Despite being set in a universe completely unlike our own, Final Fantasy still found a way to predict the future. Squall from Final Fantasy VIII predicts the death of SD television over radio waves and the rise of IPTV, an impressive 6 years before YouTube even existed. If you don't know, IPTV stands for Internet Protocol Television and simply means watching videos and shows on websites online. This prediction was not spot on, as talk of high-definition digital signals were not an entirely new concept in 1999, but still, Final Fantasy VIII had the HD cable as a key plot point in an early mission in the game. If only it was an HDMI cable though, then this prediction would have been incredible. As featured in the picture on your screen, you can see a radio communication tower that had long since been used was planning to reintroduce analog broadcasts, something that had not been used in 17 years in the game world. This is very similar to how we phased out analog TV broadcasts and replaced them with digital TV broadcasts through the use of radio waves. It was an interesting prediction back in 1999, since this didn't take full effect in the real world until 2014. Until this mission, online HD cable had previously been the only way signals could be broadcast, and we use an HDMI cable to watch these broadcasts on our HD TVs. Coincidence? Oh, we think not. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Make America great again. We told you there'd be another Metal Gear game on this list, but we're sure you didn't expect it to be in our final slot. Towards the end of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, protagonist Raiden comes face to face with Senator Stephen Armstrong. The antagonist then utters this slogan capable of sending shivers down the spine of any US citizen, word for word, as he literally has Raiden under his foot, grinding it into his back and quite literally keeping a good man down. While Raiden is at his mercy, the senator decides to launch into a monologue and share his vision for America he wants to be a part of. Luckily, he didn't mention anything about China and didn't say it would be huge. Super huge. We're gonna build it. It's gonna be great. To no one's surprise, it's revealed that Armstrong's vision for Washington is a grim one, considering he is the villain in the game and all. He says the weak will be purged and the strongest will fly, free to live as they see fit. They'll make America great again. Say what? This is probably one of the most accurate entries in this video, which is why we decided to save it for last. It turns out there was an actual presidential campaign echoing the exact same words. Supervillain words. You probably heard them before, many times before. You've probably even seen them on hats. Well, Metal Gear is pretty spot on with their predictions for sure. We wonder what else they'll get right. Well, there you have it. We can't believe how accurately these games predicted the future. Do you agree with this list? Do you know of any other games that predicted the future and got it right? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all our videos. Thanks for watching.